exactly what they're doing. Pay attention to the hand shape, twist, design, speed, whatever you need to do. Be aware of it, don't beat yourself up, but try to get as close to them as possible in terms of the movement. All right? Decide who's going first. Try to keep it to one movement.
Oh, did you? Yes. So that helped. So you
yeah, the responsibility. It's hard to not be self-conscious when you're feeling the responsibility. You know, but when you're following, you can just let that go and let the movement just take you.
For me, the following, I have to start with my left hand, and that, believe it or not, normally I start with my right hand, but if I start with my left hand, I get into it. Yeah.
It's hard to switch to the left hand leading.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I do a lot of that.
Me too. First time I saw that, I was in San Francisco, I think I'm saying that. I'm sorry.
share, but this is important. I'd love to bring it to the group and share some of the experiences that we have. So if anyone would like to jump in and just share something that they noticed, they learned.
It's very hard to match what somebody else is doing, because even though you may be matching it, the style that's coming from inside is different, even though the movement may be the same.
It's not only matching, it's you're really mirror imaging the person if you're facing them. So that's a whole other thing too. You're watching their right hand, but you're actually doing it with your left hand at the same time. So it was great. It was wonderful.
If you let go of the precision part of it and you're just capturing the essence of what they're doing, it becomes more of a flow. Watch a few times and actually copy it, and then let go and trust that you get it. And then you're just actually sending back the essence of what they're giving you.
Yeah, I felt like I was more relaxed following, because we were just talking about that. I could give up the responsibility of having to lead, and so I could just surrender to movement. And Barbara was doing a beautiful fan movement, which is a language that my hands don't normally flow in. So as I was really surrendering to it, she was taking me somewhere I hadn't gone before.
Meanwhile, he was very gentle with me and made it real simple. And then I was being Barbara, and I made it hard for him. So, but he followed beautifully, and we were just talking about that dominant submission aspect of letting go, leading and not, following, and how to do one effectively, you have to also be in touch with the other side.
If I could just go back to you for a second and ask you, can you explain essence and how that might be different from being exact?
I think it's more of a letting go of the actual, the physical mirroring. And once you have that down, obviously you have to learn that little tiny piece of choreography. But once you do that, then it's a little bitty leap of faith. And you can let go, and you're still watching on one level, but you're also letting go of yourself more and just doing it because that pattern has already been put there, and you don't need to keep doing that pattern. It's there, and you just flow with it.
And a little bit of yourself.
Yes, and a little bit of yourself. And just not being self-conscious or judgmental about whether you're doing it perfectly, so that you can just let yourself kind of come out. That's.
I found it to be evolving. Like at the beginning, it was very tight and controlled, and kind of like I was trying to, he was trying to follow my movement, I was trying to follow his movement, and then it was like the hand went from fist to actually opening up, and you were like, because at the beginning it was like, I thought I would say, all right, I'm holding a flag, and then I'm like, I'm not holding a flag. I have, and I just opened my hand, and it was funny when Sal did the movement second, he did his own movement, he started with like an open hand. So it was interesting to see how the trust evolved and the freedom evolved.
In watching John, I saw how much more effective he was doing a more relaxed move, how more expressive it was him to be more relaxed than maybe more tight. And it was much more expressive, following an easier flow, and you actually stress it out, stress less, in the movement. It's not as full of anxiety, trying to jump up and down.
It was a lot easier for me to learn the way, and then I can learn the technical aspect of it later, because as I'm learning from the very beginning. And then I can learn styling. Once I know the logistics of what I'm supposed to do, then I can learn the styling, put the styling in later. And that would probably be an easier way for me to learn, quicker, this way, rather than that way. It's just my personal way of doing it. And also when I was mirroring what Joe was doing, his hand was closed, and it was actually as if he was holding a piece of fabric. His thumb was actually holding his index finger as if he was holding a piece of fabric and moving through the air, whereas my hand was more open. And I thought that was interesting, the difference between where we were approaching the same thing. It's interesting.
Right. I can have a quick show of hands. Who has a set of flags or fans in this room right now? Show of hands. Great. What I'd like to do, because we have a short just hold it up. I want everyone to take a look around at the variety of what we have here. Notice your own flag for a moment, and notice the feeling that you get from it. What comes through to you as you look at it. And then notice the other colors and flags and fans in the room. And notice if anything jumps out at you as you look at that flag or fan. All right. For our last exercise, what I'd like to do is everybody come into the center really tight, really tight, really tight. As close as you can get, as close as you can get. And reach out and pick a partner that you haven't picked with before. Pick somebody, pick somebody. Somebody you haven't danced with before. One partner, one partner, one partner. Grab a partner. Who doesn't have a partner? All right. Find a space so that one person can flag. Find a space where one person can flag at a time. Okay? One person's going to go first. And I'm going to put the music on, and the person going first is just going to flag, is going to, anything you want, anything you want. I want you to take a second, touch base with how you what I want you to do is a little bit more focus. I want you to check in with how you're feeling as you're watching them. Okay? Notice what they're doing. Just be a little bit more aware of what's happening. For the movers, let it go. All right? You'll have 2 minutes. The watchers now become the movers. Let go, enjoy yourself. The movers now become the watchers. Pull your focus in and really pay attention to what's going on. before we jump into talking, we're going to do this one more time. You're going to remain as a couple, as a pair. You're both going to flag for 1 minute. Both of you relax, but be aware of your partner. Take a second, about a minute and a half, to share what was different about being watched and not being watched. What did it feel like to be seen, and what did it feel like to dance together? Some of the things to toss around. Process for about 2 minutes.
What do you think? Well, we were definitely feeding off each other. Right, oh yeah, I would love to. I'd love to.
But together it's already balanced.
Yeah.
Balanced out, right?
It's fun to couple. It's fun to flag as a couple. It's great. It's wonderful.
And also it's more becomes a game, kind of like ping pong game.
Right.
It's like, and once you separated, you seem to be like having
And just watching still, it was just the same as ever when I watched.
It's great to just be given the task of actually just focusing on watching. Because I noticed your style in a way that I don't think I'd ever really seen it before. Your energy coming out and coming like
Interact with the young boys when you were up and I was going down. Yeah. It's trying to let you be the dominant one by going down here.
I want to be able to deliver a gift when I'm in the zone, with these, rather than be like, look, I can wave them well,
Well, that's what I was saying. Like when you did it for me, it felt more like you were giving me a gift, performing for me. It's a very special gift. It was just for me.
So you
Did I make eye contact with you while I was
think so. I think so, but you either just rose above it and became, okay, he's watching me, but so what?
I'm doing this, it's like not, I made it cut you on. It's like, this isn't about you watching, this is about me dancing.
Okay, but see, I
need on the space right now. You have a very tight.
I have a lot more space over about here. Usually I have like a whole dance room. And then I can say get there at 9 o'clock and it's not going to go. So it's like, so you're out of dance.
Come on back to the circle. Come on back to the circle. Come on up, you guys. About this experience of being seen and not being and watching and dancing together.
I'll start. I think for me it was a big step because I'm kind of a shy person, even though Warren Gluck, the DJ, as Warren, I'm very shy, and for this was a really big step for me. And to get out in the middle, especially dance by myself, I said, I won't do it. Then I heard this other voice say, get out there. And I did it, and it was just a really freeing experience, and I'm so glad that I was here.
I watched, I'm very playful, and I can be. I don't know. I guess I'm a big. I don't know what. Exhibition. But no, but I find that I try not to think about my movement or technique. I'm just sort of getting into dancing and the playfulness of it, and sort of playing with the other person, and then watching. It's kind of like I could just stand back and sort of appreciate the aesthetics of it, because Chris, I mean, I just felt he was just so fluid, his movement was so smooth, and it was really, and then to do it together with him, as I said, I think there was about 30 seconds maybe where we were really flowing together, which was really nice. You know, and then the other part, I was like spazzing out, thinking about my left hand or whatever, you know, you start thinking about your body again. But I find that I guess when I can just transcend my body and just be part of the movement and be expressing myself, my playfulness, my joy, whatever, that's when it was really great.
I also found, because I mean, like, I forgot, Warren? Warren, I'm always out in front, I'm a performer, and to almost be, open up myself vulnerably, I found myself resisting wanting to do the first, like, everyone come out and like do a movement for, it happens everywhere. Like I take African dance, I can't get out there at the end. Usually you do, you know, you celebrate the drums and you do your own thing, but like it's a freeing experience once you just kind of go, put it aside, get your ass out there, you know. So I always find myself up against that. It's a constant that I have to work on.
The great thing about flagging, you don't have to go out on the dance floor, find somebody to dance with, or I don't know if this has ever happened to you, that you've been out on the dance floor and you just wanted to be by yourself, or suddenly some person that you're not comfortable with approaches you. Flagging, you're in your own little world. People sometimes, it sounds antisocial, but for me, it isolates me to my fun, to my listening to the music that you've played and many other disc jockeys have played. So I can enjoy that time, that, you know, my time, which is my time. If I want to enjoy time with other people, then I make that time. I don't know. That sounds okay.
One of the things that I noticed was how you transform yourself from being an observer and you go into your own head, what was being talked about earlier this morning. And once you're stopped watching someone else flag and you've got the flags in your hand and you're flagging, everything else around you kind of is not there, at least for me. While I was observing, I was an observer. When I was flagging, I was a flagger and not even aware that she was watching me. And it also made me realize all our different styles, I think.
I had an odd experience in that, like, somewhere in the course of the warm-up, my left knee just went popped right out of its socket. And my first reaction was, oh, there goes the workshop. And I was like, no, just do, you know, what you have to do and be gentle and keep, you know, don't start panicking. And then a worker who's doing some work for me showed up and needed a check. And I was like taken right out of the whole thing. And I was getting angry, and then I thought, relax, just relax, because without that, everything else doesn't mean anything.
I think for me, what changed in being watched was starting to flag for the person watching me, and then switching to letting them allow me flag for myself. And that was a level of vulnerability that I wasn't quite sure I was going to get at, or even that I knew was going to come up, but it came up. It felt much better.
I felt really self-conscious all of a sudden. It's like, all of a sudden it didn't feel right. It's like, oh, I'm not holding these in the right place or whatever. You're being observed by one of your peers, and that I'm not used to. So it's another thing to get over. I guess a lot of us are extroverts when we do this, but when it comes to us, we're not. And that's with the peer, you are yourself. It's unique. I haven't had that yet.
I also felt like when I was observing the other person, I was like being in their skin. I could feel every move they made. I was totally forgot about my own body, and I was kind of inhabiting their body for those few minutes. So it was kind of cool.
How does she feel?
Good.
Well, I was just thinking that what I was talking about is how I like following because I can surrender to the movements and I become less self-conscious about it. And what happens when I flag, which I could really feel happening, was I just surrender to the music and let the music take me on the journey. So I'm relieved of the responsibility of having to think about what's coming next because the music will decide that. I can just go along with the flow. And that's what really feels so great for me with flagging, is that letting go and letting it be, and you don't know what's going to come next, and that's what's really exciting.
That's why it's great having a disc jockey like Warren who knows flagging, and when you start to do it, he can take you on a trip, and he can lead you to places you've never been before,
Yeah.
which is the fun part of it. It's part his responsibility and also part each of ours to surrender.
Right.
I think it affected my musical style a little bit too, becoming a flagger. It took me full circle, totally, because I got to be one of the people I was playing for, completely.
Which is obvious.
It was a stroke to my chakras. I was telling Barbara when she was, butterfly, it just, something I was becoming aware of what you guys were talking about earlier about, it was like a warm, fuzzy feeling. I was like presence too. I'm like, oh God, this is really nice. So maybe it's really gorgeous just to be an observer. I should take that on and just watch.
I would say that this was an interesting exercise because we're used to doing it in a crowd of people or on a stage where you don't see the faces of the audience. This was a one-on-one connection. I think there's a danger for a lot of us about hiding behind the tools, hiding behind the flags, hiding behind the fans. I'm not Barbara, I'm Barbara the fanner, but having to connect with one person and communicate directly kind of takes down some of that, and you realize that you're not disconnected. And yeah, go to a fan hole, it's a wonderful meditation, get out of your body for a while and flail, but it's good to just be able to do that while you're still connecting on other levels.
Technical term, fan hole.
It is. It is.
And I'd like to just jump in and close and just say that this time together was a gift. It was a gift that you gave yourself. And I just would like each of you to honor that, and that I would love to see this gift continue. And I know Christian does amazing work in this type of work. This movement and our flags is our passion. This is very similar work, and this type of experience will continue. And please watch for upcoming workshops and little promotion. But in that promotion, it is continuing this community. It is continuing the very important work that all of us do, and that is raising the consciousness of who we are, and in honoring the gift within ourselves. And to me, that's what's kept us going, and that's why we're all here. So thank you, all of you, for being here. And I look forward to many more of these, because there's so much more that we have yet to become aware of. So I look forward to more time. Structure upstairs, starting right where we're late. 4:10. Learn how to make fans with Larry. 4:10. Thank you.
That are actually for sale. There will be some items that I want to raise some money for these guys for the event.
For these guys? Okay.
Okay. I'm from South Jersey, honey. What do you want? Huh? No, I'm actually fine now. Okay. Anyway, we'll go back to those later. Let's do a little brief thing on that fan making stuff. I wish these tables were a little higher, so I think I'm going to sit down and do this. Guys, you can bring your chairs up. This is nice. They just all roll. You don't have to. You don't have to. All that.
Oh, this is nice. Look at the chairs.
I was wondering where you went to.
I'll just take this
Okay, it took me I would say I was making flags for close to 4 years. My 5th year, I decided that I should start making some fans. And basically, I didn't want to make any fans because I didn't want to deal with other people where they had to keep gluing things to their fans constantly. Their spines were breaking on them all the time. So basically, I made quite a few sets before I was able to perfect something that I could actually give to a beginner and I wouldn't have to worry about them breaking. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you the old style way. I'm going to show you another new style. And I'm going to show you my style. Okay. So basically, when I start making a fan, I have to think of what type of fabric am I going to put these things on. Okay. This is the fabric here. Chris knows this one, because this actually has his name on it. It looks like nothing. But when you put that on there, it reflects light, like a bicycle light reflector. And then you have this, which everybody's familiar with that. It's a little stretchy and shiny. And this stuff goes very nice. Okay? It has a little weight to it, but that's fine. Don't be scared of it. And then spandex. Spandex is wonderful. Yes, stretch is good. Then we also have, I think this is Georgette. Now, somebody correct me, I don't know. Then you can go to chiffon. You can also do cotton. This is a nylon, but it's the same weight as cotton. You can feel it pass it around. Actually, this is cotton. Here you go. That's actually a Halloween costume for children. That I cut it up and turned it into a fan. It glows in the dark, and the glow in the dark also pops the black light. It's kind of funny when the DJ doesn't want to shine a light on you anymore. You're still out there glowing. I'm here. Say thank you, who's that doesn't like manners?
Junior.
Thank you. Well, Junior would hate those.
Can I bother?
You couldn't turn you off with those. Okay, now the way I start off when I make my my fan itself, as far as doing the fabric area, I make myself patterns out of craft paper. Okay. As far as the inside diameter and the outside diameter. Now, you know, the inside diameter, I usually use 6 inches. That's enough for you to grab. You can go up to 7 if the fan is like much bigger, like the purple one. I think that's an early one of mine, so that's probably 8 inches wide. But you really don't need to go beyond 7. 6 is just fine. And then you get to expand as far as you want. So, you know, but I have to tell you, the bigger the fan is, the slower it's going to move. And the heavier it's going to be. So these guys that are used to flagging all the time, you're not going to be able to go out there and clean these things all around. You've got to like quarter time your beat with a bigger fan. And that will be explained to you later. Now, as far as cutting your pattern out, I had to bring my stick. Okay. This is how I basically get a perfect, you know, inside diameter and outside diameter. You put a pencil or whatever sharp you have here in the center, and you just drag it along. And I cut everything to like whatever outside diameter I want and whatever inside has that on. And like I had all these different sizes here for my fans. 6 by 16. Got a lot of 6 by 16. Wow. Okay. I got 6 by 17, 6 by 21, and whatever this one is here, 6 by 20. I have them basically in all the instruments that are put on there on the ruler and larger. And as you can see, I actually marked the inside width of the fan.
When you say 6-inch diameter, what do you mean exactly?
I'm sorry?
Could you describe what you mean by that 6-inch diameter? Just show me.
If I had it right up here, I'd be able to show you a little bit better.
Is it 6 inches from here to here, or 6 inches from
6
the inner
inches
circle?
from right here.
6 inches
It's
from
folded
here.
in half. Okay, that's your diameter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Am I explaining that correct diameter, Chris?
If it's radius, it's radius. Radius.
One side is radius, directly across the diameter.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, it's radius then.
One radius is
Okay.
2 diameters.
Put a pocket on here. And I cut that 4 inches wide, whatever width of this panel here. Okay, which is 10 inches. It's probably, yeah. What I do with these is, this is my style, I reinforce it inside, and you can pass this along. And I'll give a couple to pass along here. When I cut the piece, the rectangular piece, it's 4 inches wide to whatever the width is here.
Okay.
Okay.
In other words, you're shortening your fan by 4 inches of that.
No, I put an extra piece on it. So I'm adding actually extra 2 inches to the piece. But let me explain another way of doing this too. Those of you who might not sew like I do, to me making a fan is like making a dress. You can actually expand this out further, okay? And then basically roll your fan up and glue it, which would be a lot easier if these guys don't sew. And another way of fixing your seams, let's go with fixing the seams on the frame. You don't want your frame all over the place. There's a new product called Fray Block. Fray Check. Not Fray Check. It's that glue stuff. What's the Fabricat? That's what it's called, Fabricat.
The glue?
It's a clear stuff, yes.
Yeah, it's milliner's glue.
Yes.
Yeah.
That works very, very well. And especially for your inside seam, because a lot of these probably don't have a serger. And what you do is you just glue that, you just put that stuff down and you just let it dry. And it fixes that side. And you can also do it to this. Now spandex, you do not have to fix the inner seam or the outer seam. Fabrics that fray, yes, you do. Okay. Which is like Georgette, chiffon, silk, and especially silk because with silk, it falls apart, it rips actually like paper on a fan. So you need to build that up. Okay. Now, since I explained, did I explain everything so far? So good.
When you add the extra 4 inches, how far in do you sew them on?
It doesn't matter, because you're just adding extra to the fabric there, to the radius. I should explain, when you do add extra, I'll explain that when you put it together. I'm kind of skipping over here. Okay. Now, since I need to show you guys how to put your fans together, basically, doing the spines. And I think I explained the fabric pretty well now. Okay. Now, when you use spines on your fans, I use up to 12. Okay. Now, there are people that use up to 16 or whatever's on there. I've seen them up to 18 for, you know, a simple set of fans. But I will tell you, it runs a little slower and it's a lot tighter. So if you're new at starting, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't do it. Do it. You know, I haven't done it yet myself, but I've played other people's. You can do from 12, you can actually do from 10, you can do from 8. Now 8 is a very fast fan, okay, and it's a little hard to play. 12 I found was the best medium spot as far as playing a set of fans go. Now as far as picking a fan, I should say too. Now, guys, I looked long and hard as far as finding spines. And I actually got lucky because I found a store that went out of business and I bought a lot of money there. I'm not even going to go into it, Chris knows. Me and my other half basically, yeah, I got boxes and boxes up in the attic. But this is actually for my own product because these are so hard to find. So I don't sell these. When you pick a fan, this is something that Canada taught me, okay? God bless her. Okay, she taught me when you buy something, a fan, try to make sure it's 13 inches from end to end. Of course, it's going to be a little bit shorter, but try to make sure it's 13 inches here. Usually, when you go in from a fan, it's a little more when they have the hole here, a little more than an inch, and you just cut it. Well, we'll go over that one later. And when you come down to here, your fan usually comes out a little bit over 11.5 inches. That's a good size, 11 to 12 when your spines go. Because when you pull the paper off, look what happens. Your spines are shorter. Okay? So that's why she always told me to look for a 13-inch fan. Now, yes, you can play with baby fans. And I should have brought one of our, you remember the blue and white one? Green and white ones. From the fellows that moved to Las Vegas, they gave me. Every time I go to the party, I play those now. But baby fans are a little harder to play. These will give you a lot more joy, especially since you're a flagger. You can swing these around. Okay, so there we go as far as picking a fan out. And you live up in New York City, go to Chinatown. And you have to do like I do. Lift up, you know, boxes, papers, whatever, in those dirty little places, and you can find whatever you want. It just, sometimes it hits you.
Pearl River is still on a lot.
Huh?
Pearl River still has a lot.
See. What are they, 13 inches long?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Kung Fu place down, I think on Lot Street still has some of the big heavy ones.
Yeah, but those are not good to play. They're like...
They gotta like split them in half.
Okay. But then that's, you have to sit there and drill holes through it. Yeah.
Carpentry is possible.
Huh?
As little carpentry as possible.
Yeah. I mean, you know, these are at the most $5. The Kung Fu fans are probably about $8.
No, they're 5. You can get them as low as 5. And they make the plastic ones too.
Yeah, but those break
They're
too
horrible.
easy, the bottom halves of it. Now, as far as decorating a fan, guys, why don't we have you up here a little bit closer, because I don't think you'll be able to see. I mean, as far as reinforcing your spine. Now, there are a couple of ways of reinforcing your spines. Okay, I'm going to explain to you the old way. The old way was basically taking your spine, decorating it, okay, and then gluing it to your fabric, but their bamboo was a lot better too. But they did break. another way that Canada taught me, which a lot of the older fanners do, they basically take filament tape like this, or strapping tape, this is a newer thing. I actually like strapping tape better because you can't rip it. And you just put one layer, okay? Which is like over here. One layer. Now, a lot of the older fanners don't reinforce like I do here. And I have to give credit to Canada for teaching me as far as reinforcing here. Down to bottom. Because your hole will split. No pun intended. And this is always a good thing to have around in the house. Mm-hmm. You know, don't piss your lover off when you're using it. Or don't have your lover piss you off while you're using it. He's not circumcised, he'll be circumcised to him. Okay, and you just fold it over one time. And trim it. I do not suggest this when you're doing a lot of coffee. Or if you were like me at the table earlier. I thought I was going to kill my scarf. Okay, now that's putting one layer of tape. It depends on the weight of your fan, or the fabric that you're putting on your fan. This type of fabric, you should actually use 2 layers of tape, okay? Which is like this. And you guys can pass these around. That's what 2 layers of tape looks like. Now this is filament tape, so I use 2 different types of tapes when I do my spines, and that's only because I got it cheap. I bought it by the case, and this is what I got: strapping tape, which I found out was very nice tape, and then this is filament tape. And then
I
when
can see where you're doing the bottom where you're reinforcing. The second one, what is that, at the 6-inch mark?
Well, I'm not. I didn't get to that, explaining that yet. Okay. Anyway, you fold it over, and I like to go it again. And then sometimes, if I know the fabric's going to be really heavy, I go again, and I go again. Don't worry. It's not going to come apart, because once you have another layer on top of it and your decoration, who cares? You're never going to see it. Okay?
What is, why don't you do that all the time? Why would you not do that?
It depends on the weight of the fabric. These are the lightest fans actually in these. Okay, these are very light fans. And you can feel the weight of these. And these are silks. You don't want a heavy spine on a very lightweight fabric. It's not going to work. Now, because I sell these, I have to reinforce these a little bit more, because I don't want you guys sending these back to me. But I would take them back anyway. Like, bitch, you broke them. There's a charge on them.
These are great.
Now you see what fabric the Magnatech, the glue does to the inside? I didn't have to sew it on the inside. And I suggest that don't sew it on a regular sewing machine on the inside, because when you sew in a diagonal, it stretches the fabric. So when you try to put it together, where's my first set of fans? These dusty things. Look what happens. it stretches it all over the place.
Oh.
Okay. They play like beautiful, but you can tell these were my first time. Now, should I show you something in a little bit more weight? Okay. Here's something in chiffon. Okay, and this is in a nylon. And these are actually nylon that feels like cotton.
Do you sew the inside seam by hand, or do you have a special?
I have a serger that does that.
Sergers.
I have like 6 different sewing machines. It's kind of my business, so you know what I mean. I can afford to have a few different machines. My other half doesn't want me to, but you know, whatever. That's why you got a second bedroom. Shove it all in there. Chris can. He stays over my house. All he sees is green boxes all over the place. Rubbermaid containers. The wall of Rubbermaid containers and the shelves of trimmings. Okay. That to me. I also reinforce the top because I sew my fans, I tack my fans onto my fabric, my spines onto my fabric, I'm sorry. And this is something I have to tell you guys. Using a sewing machine to tack your spines onto your fabric might not be a good idea unless you're planning to like make a lot of fans, because you should buy a separate sewing machine. This is really tough on your sewing machine. I used my Viking for a while with this, and it cost me over $300 to fix it. Okay, I ruined a needle bar assembly, which was like 2 days worth of disassembling and reassembling. Okay, but I reinforce here so that basically I can tack, and because you know I fold over at the top a lot, I can tack here. Now I have a factory sewing machine, so I just turn that bitch on and step on it. Wear goggles, you know. If that needle goes, whatever. It's not in my face, it's just embedded in my chest.
Can they actually punch through the skin for
it will, if you have a factory sewing machine, it depends on how your sewing machine is made. You know, they go from light to heavy. If you just got a regular factory sewing machine, that thing gets knocked out of timing like you won't believe. So what I would suggest is, if you plan to make a lot of fans, go out and buy yourself what I would call a beat-up machine. So if you knock the damn thing out of timing, of course, that's the machine that you're always going to take back to have it fixed. But that's the machine that it's going to be used for. Now, glues have gotten so much better that you really don't have to do that. Okay, and we'll go in